everyone, this is Alka and you are watching Success Stories Season 2 presented by Trident Communications in association with World Humanitarian Foundation. Our guest for today is Mr. Bijay Anand. He is an actor known for Sher Shah, Bahubali Before the Beginning and Ramayan and many more. Also, he is a Kundalini Yoga teacher. Now that he's here with us on our show today, let's talk about his journey of success. Hello Bijay ji, how are you?
Namaste and Satnam. Thank you very much. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking out time for this episode of Success Stories. Welcome to our show. So, sir, your debut movie was Yash back in 1996. So, what got you into acting the first time that you thought that you would actually get into it?
So, I never believed in education. I still don't. Like I tell my daughter, she's 13 years old, that whenever she wants to drop out of college or school, she's welcome to. I mean, I never check her marks. I don't expect her to stand first. I don't expect her to pass. I don't believe in the education system. So for me, in my own life, I was only 12th standard pass. And I come from a very poor background. So if you talk about success stories today, whatever you see about me, I started my life selling soap in local trains. So that's where my journey began from. When I was 14, 15 years old, I used to sell soap in the train. And, in Mumbai, there's a market called Gandhi Market. So outside Gandhi Market, we would put the chatai and put the soap on that. And for 1 rupee per packet, I used to sell that. So that is the beginning of my journey. I started from there. And at a particular point, I realized that I kept getting offers for modeling. Like people would stop me in the middle of the road. They would, approach me if I was traveling in a local train, somebody sitting opposite me would say, "Hi, I'm from so-and-so ad agency. Would you like to be a model?" And I would say, "No, I'm not interested." And then I kept saying no, kept saying no, kept saying no. And then one day, I have my chacha's best friend. He spoke to me and he said, "What do you think? You're not a rich person. You're not coming from a big background. Your father has no bank balance. Why do you keep saying no? It's an opportunity." So I said, "Okay, what should I do?" He said, "Give it a shot." Then I was 16 or 17 years old at that time. And the first thing that I did was I went to this photographer called Mahesh Painter. He took a portfolio of mine for 2,000 rupees. And in those days, we didn't have all these modern technology like WhatsApp and Facebook and all these things, So my photos were drying in the dark room. That's what they used to call it in those days. And they were half dry. And the head of O&M, this ad agency, she walked in, she saw my picture, which was half dry and half wet. She couldn't even see my face clearly. She said, "This is my model for Cadbury's 5-star." And after that, my journey as a model began, and I was very, very, very successful. In fact, there was a time when if you were watching one serial, you would see me in at least 3 ads, like one after the other. I would be in Close Up, I would be in Photophone, Konica Square, I would be in Clearfield, I would be in Lifebuoy. It would be like I was one of the top models at that time. And because of that, now to answer your question, how did my journey in movies began? I got approached for this movie called Yash. And I said yes immediately, and the songs were a big hit. And because of Yash, I got Pyar To Hona Hi Tha with Ajay Devgan and Kajol. And that's how my journey with the film industry began.
All right, sir. Although you already mentioned that you started with soap selling, but I want to know what other struggles did you face during this journey?
Well, I mean, it was not easy. There were many times where we didn't have food to eat in the house. So bread used to cost 1 rupee and 25 paisa in those days, if you know the meaning of 1 rupee and 25 paisa. And sometimes we did not even have 1 rupee, 25 paisa to buy bread in the house. And it was a struggle. But today, whatever I am, and I don't know whether you know that I teach yoga and that I travel the whole world to teach it. I give lectures. I have a YouTube channel in which I'm giving lectures. Whatever I have become today is because of that struggle. Without that struggle, I would have not been the Bijay Anand that you know.
Definitely, sir. So, sir, after doing so many movies, you took a break and you became a Kundalini Yoga teacher. How did that big change happen?
Yeah, the first of all is Kundalini Yoga. It's not Kundalini Yoga. It's Kundalini Yoga.
I'm really sorry about the pronunciation.
So the change happened because I'm also an art dealer, and all my income was not from movies. My income, whatever money I made in my life, my success story, so to speak, was because of my success in the art world. And in 2007, when the whole global economy collapsed, when the whole markets crashed, I lost millions of dollars. I lost so much money, I can't even tell you. And it didn't affect me. I was not sad, I was not depressed, but I was questioning that what is the purpose of life? If whatever you earn in 45 years of your life or 40 years of your life, in 1 minute, it can go away like this. What it is that you can own, what it is that you can have that nobody can take away from you. And you know what the answer was? Your inner peace, your wisdom, the bliss and the joy that you can have in life. Nobody can take that away from you. That is yours. It belongs to you. So then, instead of trying to earn more money and trying to become rich like before, what I was trying to do before, I started focusing on just finding the meaning of true happiness, of true joy, of what it means to live heaven on earth, not after you die. What is the meaning of heaven on earth? And that's how I discovered Kundalini Yoga.
So, sir, after a really long break of 17 years, you returned back to the entertainment industry with the TV serial Ramayan. What brought you back?
Well, at that time, I was teaching a lot. I was teaching every month. I was going out of India, at least to one country. So, January used to be China, February used to be Russia, March used to be Europe, April used to be, and it used to be at least one country. So if I'm telling you Europe, it means I would go to Manchester, then I would go to Liverpool, then I would go to Norway, then I would go in, then I would go to Sweden, so it was like that. And that was my life, me teaching every single month like that, traveling and teaching, at yoga conferences, at yoga festivals, yoga seminars. That was my life. So and please understand that for the entire 17 years, the offers for acting kept coming. It never stopped. People didn't forget me. Like the producers and directors who I worked with, they love me. I mean, I have a relationship with them. So they kept offering me, they kept calling me, and I kept saying no. So when I became a Kundalini Yoga teacher, at that time, I had this really long beard, which came up to here. Literally, my beard was up to here. And when Nikhil Sinha called me for Siya Ram, he looked at me, he said, "You are Janak in real life. Please agree to play Janak, Sita's father." And when I heard the role, I realized that what I'm teaching 400 people. In my class, how many people were there? 800 people? 700 people? As Janak, I could teach the good values of life, philosophy, how to have a relationship with how to bring children up, which is my favorite subject, by the way, to millions of people. So now, as my karma, as a teacher, instead of teaching 700 or 800 people, by saying yes to the role of Siya Ram, I could reach out to millions of people, and which is what has happened. If you don't know, I don't know if you know, but Siya Ram has been translated to Indonesian language, to Russian language, to Thai. I think about at least 14 or 15 languages. And it has been seen by millions of people from around the world. And my role as Janak, as somebody who's a Raj Rishi, that means who's living the life of a king, but deep down inside is a yogi, is exactly how my life is. I'm living the life of a king. I'm living in this beautiful, home that you should see in the daytime sometime. And, I have all the pleasures and the luxuries of a king, but deep down inside, in my heart, in my real life, in how I think, how I behave, how I live my life, I'm a yogi. So for me to say yes to that role was not an option. That role was made for me. I had to say yes to it.
So, sir, you have done a lot of movies and there have been a lot of characters. It's really hard to remember all your characters, but if I was to ask which character has been your favorite, I guess I kind of know the answer because of the previous answer. But still, which one has been your favorite character?
No, as a teacher, because I'm a teacher, it was obviously Janak. But as an actor, it was my role with Sunny Leone, as Sunny Leone's father in Karanjit Kaur, where the director was Aditya Dutt, one of my favorite directors in the industry, and working with Sunny, with Aditya Dutt, with Nama Productions, shooting in Cape Town, That experience for me as an actor is one of the best, probably the best experience of my life.
All right, sir. So, sir, you have worked in movies, mythological shows, TV shows, and now you've also worked in web series. So, which one would you say you enjoyed the most?
I don't do anything that I don't enjoy. If I don't enjoy something, I don't do it. So that means I've just, in fact, last week, 3 days back, I've said no for a very big film, for a very big project, for a very big director and a very big producer. Was not comfortable. So they asked me, so why are you saying no? I said, I don't know. You can call it intuition. He said, you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. So the thing is, I'm not running after fame. I'm not running after becoming a big famous actor. I didn't care for it 17 years ago. I left acting 17 years ago at the top of my career. When I was part of a Silver Jubilee film, Pyar To Hona Hi Tha, with Ajay Devgn and Kajol, I didn't care about fame at that time. I walked away from the acting industry for 17 years. I came back only because of Sia Kiram. You think I care about fame now, especially after what yoga has done to me and my personality? I don't care.
Definitely. So, sir, you have had big changes. All of a sudden you were a model, then all of a sudden you were into movies, and all of a sudden you took a break. So, who has been your biggest support and inspiration in this journey?
Well, in the last 14 years, obviously, it has been my wife, Sonali. She is somebody who is my anchor, my support structure, somebody who keeps giving me a lot of strength, a lot of support. But before that, I had something which we call as guardian angels. I had nobody. I had that. In fact, at that time, I didn't even have friends. So I had a support structure now, which is real. But at that time, before I got married, 14 years ago, it was my guardian angels.
So, as you've already told about your support and inspiration, but still, ups and downs are a part of life. So, when you have your ups and downs, how do you deal with it?
I don't see an up as an up and a down as a down. I see everything as a leveler. For me, there is no. So when if I win a lottery, I don't start dancing, and if I see a down, if I see a tragedy, I don't start crying. For me, everything is part of a life journey. Everything is part of an experience, and I can tell you a story. Then there's a Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, there is a story about this man Sisyphus. I don't know how to spell it, but they call him Sisyphus. And Sisyphus is pushing this big boulder, this big rock up a mountain. Yeah. And his whole life is doing it. He's now 55, 60 years old. For 60 years from the time he was born, he's just pushing that boulder up a mountain. There's nothing else to do. His legs are bleeding, his shoulders are paining, and he's crying all the time. He's saying, why did God give me this job to do? And one day, he becomes enlightened. Don't ask me how that happened. This is a part of the mythology. He becomes enlightened. Do you think that the rock went away because he became enlightened? Do you think the mountain became flat and it was not steep anymore? Do you think his legs stopped bleeding? No, everything was the same. But for Sisyphus, life was not painful anymore. Now he was smiling, he was not crying. He understood the fact that pushing this boulder up the mountain, that pain that he was going through is part of his journey. And he had to learn from it. He had to grow from it. So for me, there's no up and down in life. It's all part of an experience. In fact, whenever I come across something which is tragic, with something which is painful, I have always used it to grow and become bigger than what I am in life. So all the people who stab me in the back, who hurt me, who tried to cause me financial harm, all kinds of mischievous things they did to me. For me, they were all my teachers, because today what you see of Bijay Anand is because of my gurus, which they are great, they are all amazing. But my biggest teachers have been the people who tried to hurt me, who tried to destroy me. I am whatever I am because of them.
All right, sir. As we're talking about growth, so are there some future plans or projects that are lined up in the pipeline and you would like to share with the audience?
I never plan for the future. You see, the problem with mankind is the reason why 98% of human beings on the planet are unhappy and sad is because half of them live in the past. This is what happened to me. I was abused as a child. My dad was mean to me, or my mother slapped me, or this happened in the past, or I lost somebody died, and they live in the past. And that's why they're unhappy. The remaining 50% of that 98 unhappy people, 98% unhappy people in the world are unhappy because they have too much anxiety for the future. They're thinking what is going to happen in the future when they retire. Will they have enough money? How are they going to grow old? What is going to happen tomorrow? What is going to happen next year? What is going to happen to the stock market? What is going to happen? The only 2% people on this planet that are happy, who are like me, are the ones who live in the moment. For me, the only thing that matters is now. Right now, what am I doing? I'm talking to you, and I'm complete day in this moment. I don't care about what happened in the past. I've forgotten it. I have no memory of the past. I don't care about what happens in the future. I don't think about the future. So if you ask me what my plans for the future are, I have no plans at all. Right now, I have this healing center where people come, they stay with me for 5 days. They have health issues, they have physical issues, they have psychological issues, mental issues. They stay with me for 5 days, they get healed, they go back. That's my life right now. What it is going to be after 2 weeks, what it is going to be after 2 months, I don't know. And I don't care because I know it's going to be great. Whatever is going to happen, it's going to be amazing. In Hindi, we have this what we call कहावत कि जो हुआ वो अच्छा हुआ, जो होने वाला है वो अच्छा होने वाला है, जो हो रहा है वो अच्छा हो रहा है. And that's how you understand the meaning of living in heaven when you're alive. You don't have to die to go to heaven. You live in the heaven now.
So is this also something that we can call your personal life mantra, something that you follow, something that helps you motivate and encourage yourself every day?
I don't need to motivate myself. I motivate myself for what? To become successful, to become rich, to become famous. I don't need to motivate myself for anything. I just wake up. When I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. So how you see me like this is how I open my eyes and I'm fresh. I just get up like this. I'm not like this. At 4 o'clock, I'm not waking up like that and like going here and trying to find my toothbrush. I wake up fresh. I'm charged for the whole day. I'm like looking forward to my yoga in the morning, my meditation, my morning walk. This is what excites me. This is what I do. And I deal with the whole day like that. That's my life.
All right, sir. So, although I know the answer to this question as well, but due to COVID, people had a lot of time right now during the pandemic, like the lockdown happened, and any passion which was not sought or something that people could not follow earlier because of time restrictions, they followed that. So, is there something that you took up as well during the COVID lockdown?
See, like I told you in your question before, that I use every tragedy, every bad news, and everything sad or everything which is really terrible as an advantage. I try to grow from it. I try to learn from it. And when the pandemic happened, everybody was in the house. They were locked up. They were not going anywhere. They were not doing anything. They didn't know what to do. They were all freaking out. My students were freaking out because I couldn't go to those countries. Like I couldn't go to Russia. I couldn't go to China. I couldn't go to Europe. So they were freaking out that I'm not going. So they said, can you teach us online? So to answer your question, during the pandemic, I discovered the power of having a YouTube channel, of being live on Instagram and reaching out to millions of people by making a video which can be seen 60,000 times, 70,000 times, and benefiting people sitting in their house, sitting in the car, giving them some knowledge which they can learn from, which they can grow from, which they can become healthy from. So in the pandemic, this has been the greatest gift to me, that I learned the power of social media. Today, I have an Instagram account, Transform with Bijay, where I do a live course every month. On the 15th of every month, there's a 7-day course or a 4-day course, which is really important. If you read the comments that I've got hundreds and hundreds of comments. Everyone has said the same thing. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. How much satisfaction do you think I get from that? If your karma is to be a teacher, if your biggest joy is to share information, is to help people, how much joy do you think I get when I read these messages?
I think I kind of got the answer, and everyone who's watching the show right now knows it as well. So, sir, is there an unforgettable moment or event that you would like to share? Something that does not have to, something that does not have to deal with the spiritual journey that you have had, but also the Bollywood and the movie journey that you have had. Everything.
if you say everything and I can choose the most unforgettable moment, then it was definitely the attacks which happened in Mumbai, the terrorist attack, because I happened to be inside Taj up to 5 o'clock in the morning on that day when the terrorists attacked Taj and all the other five-star hotels in Mumbai, like the Oberois and all of those other places. So that experience that I had at that time, that day, I was with my wife. That is something which you can easily understand when I tell you that it's the most unforgettable moment of my whole life.
So, sir, now that we are heading towards the end of today's episode, and it was a lovely interview with you. So, since World Humanitarian Foundation is our associated partner and they work towards women empowerment, so what are your views about women around the world?
You see, for a man, if a man does not respect women, he's not a human being. First of all, you have to understand one thing. Before I give you the actual answer to your actual question, in philosophy, what we say is we are all basically animals. So this whole world is there's no human being. There are animals. Everybody is an animal. The 2% that I told you about earlier, the 2% of the global population are the ones who have crossed over from being animals to becoming human beings. Because being human is to be kind, is to be humble, is to be compassionate, is to be honest. Now, when you have these kind of sattvic qualities within you, that is when you become a human being. And now coming to your question, if you are a human being, as a man, as a human being, you will only respect women, because that is the source of all mankind. If without women, how would a man be born? How would this Srishti happen? Okay. And as far as relationships are concerned, now coming to the most precious relationship is between the mother and son, and a man and a wife. The mother and son, everybody knows. You also know, everybody knows. But what I want to tell you, it's for the most beautiful marriage. It does not have to have romance in it. It needs to be a relationship of being a best friend. And like Osho said something wonderful. In love, don't love the person as if it's a woman. Love a woman as if you worship that woman. Love the man as you worship the man. So for me, I worship my wife. And I'm not saying it because it's like a nice, fancy, dramatic dialogue to say. I genuinely do. And that is the only kind of relationship I understand. So for all the women in the world, for all the women who will watch this also, my deep respect for whatever they stand for. And like what I always say, the way you can multitask, like if you look at my wife, Sonali, she looks after me, whatever my requirements are. She looks after my two companies, my art company and the yoga company. She looks after my daughter. She knows 4 o'clock she has piano, 6:30 she's got math tuition. Next day morning has to pack something to take. She knows all that. She knows what's happening with my mother. She knows what's happening with my sister. She knows what's happening with her mother, with her friends. The one person balancing all of this is only hats off to women. My relationship, now you're answering your question, with women and what they stand for is my deep respect for their ability to multitask and for whatever they stand for. For me, they're all goddesses.
That's a really lovely thought. And since the name of our show is Success Stories, so if you had to define success, what would be the two definitions?
If I have to define success for you, I will tell you a story. The story is about this gentleman called Soli Uncle. Soli Uncle didn't have too much money. He had a decent flat in Mumbai. He had a wife, he had 2 daughters. If Soli Uncle sneezed, the wife would come running, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he loved him so much. There's so much love between the two of them. And the daughter from Delhi would call him, "Papa, are you okay?" She loved him so much that there would be a soul connection, that Papa is not well. The daughter from UK will call up, "Papa, are you okay?" All his friends loved him so much. He's no more. He passed away. You see, there are people who are billionaires. I know billionaires. I have some students who are worth $7 billion, $8 billion. They're on drugs. They come to me for therapy. They come for de-addiction. Obviously, I'm never going to declare their names. But the point is, being a billionaire is not being successful. Being successful is having these beautiful moments in your life, these beautiful relationships in your life, this positivity around you, that the love that you've given so much of yourself in these relationships, that it comes back to you 10 times more. For me, that is a successful life because you have lived every moment. You spread joy, you spread happiness wherever you've gone. Your life has been one of light, which is spread everywhere you have gone. The most successful life is the one which is the most happiest life. If you are not happy in your life, you're not successful, which is why I tell all my students, why would you try to be rich? Why would you try to be famous so that you become happy? You think that becoming rich will make you happy, but becoming successful will make you happy. Why do you want to waste your time going via? Just go straight and directly towards being happy. Do what you love to do. Have beautiful relationships. Spend time with your children. Spend time with your parents. Spend time with your wife, with your friends. Live a beautiful life, because only that life in which you are experiencing heaven on earth, that is a true success story, in my view.
Thank you so much, sir, for that lovely interview. And before we bid farewell to our viewers, is there a last message that you would like to share with them?
Being happy is not a difficult, you don't have to be a Buddha. You don't have to sit under a Bodhi tree to be enlightened or be happy. It's really simple. The one thing I want to share with you is that the life that you are experiencing is a life which is a reflection of what is inside of you. So what you are seeing outside, what you are experiencing outside is what is inside. If your food is sattvic, if your stomach is clean, if your food is sattva, the mind becomes sattva, the mind becomes sattvic. If your stomach is sattvic, the mind is sattvic, your actions, your speech, your deeds, all of that becomes sattvic. Because of that, your aura becomes sattvic. And you see these chakras behind? And then your chakras come into alignment. And then you become one with the cosmic vibration. It's a pulse which is beating. And then you become one like this. And then the magic begins. That's when you realize that every single day of your life is a miracle and magic. That is my message for your viewers.
Thank you so much, sir, for that lovely message and the lovely chat with you.
Thank you very much. Dhanyawad.
Thank you so much for your time for this episode of Success Stories as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, everyone, for joining with us on this episode of Success Stories. If you want to watch more such stories, so please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any notifications.